Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Underhood Show. My name is Josh Profit. I'm the service director here at Mel Hambelton Ford. And alongside me today, I have Scotty Gurman. Good morning, Scotty.
Good morning. How are you?
Man, I'm doing great. It's a beautiful morning out there.
It is. It's a little cold.
Yeah, just a little bit different than what it has been for sure. So, hey, everybody, this is a call-in show, 316-462-3673. That's the number to jump on the air here, and let's talk anything automotive. This is we typically we'll have a kind of a little bit of an agenda that we want to go over or talk about, and then somebody calls in, and in the ditch we go.
Yeah,
so
that's right. Yeah,
it is a call-in show. Anything automotive, anything vehicle related, maintenance related, new vehicle products. You want to talk about the strike that's going on? Anything in automotive news, racing. By all means, please give us a call, 316-462-3673. For each and every person that calls in, we'll send you out a package, but it's going to consist of the works, which is an oil change and tire rotation. We use Motorcraft oil and filter products here at Mel Hambelton Ford. While we're performing that, we're going to do a multi-point inspection on your vehicle, checking over the brakes, tires, steering, suspension, all the safety-related safety-related items on your vehicle, just making sure that it's ready to go for that next 5,000 miles of driving. You'll also receive yourself complete nitrogen for your tires, so you get all the great benefits that nitrogen has to offer. A $10 to Mel's Diner, so you can get yourself something to eat and drink while you're here with us at the Big Corner over at Mel's Diner. And then a BG Products package, which consists of a can of MOA or motor oil additive for your engine oil, and then CF5 for your fuel system. Again, just getting that vehicle geared up and ready to go for that next 5,000 miles of driving. So, hey, we've got a caller already, so I'll get them patched through. But Scotty, I appreciate you joining me today.
You bet.
Phil is out. His daughter is getting married today.
Holy smokes.
So he is, I think he's been extremely busy with that. I think that's a super exciting time for those guys. And, definitely, I'm sure he's looking forward to that. So
still expecting him to call in on the show,
yeah,
though, right?
Potentially, yeah. So, hey, let's go to the phones and talk to Bill. Bill, you're on live with Under the Hood. Good morning.
Yeah, I had a question for you. I was reading the other day, I don't know if it's true or not, that Ford was going to get out of the e-vehicle business, or is that something that's just a rumor out there? Or?
Yeah, that is a rumor. Ford is in on EV. They've invested billions of dollars to build battery plants and the manufacturing for these vehicles, but no, they are in on EV. Now, what I will say is that it is a separate entity. So there's Ford Blue, which is the kind of the traditional ICE vehicle dealerships, and then there's Ford EV for the EV side of things, and then they have Ford Pro, which is more commercial and fleet type business. So they did kind of break up the business into three sectors, if you will. But now they are all in on EV. Each dealer had to pay a dealership fee basically if they wanted to join the EV side of things, and it was not cheap by any means. And so that's something in the coming year. So in 2024. I really do think we'll see a lot of ramped up production. There was some production in 23. They made commitments to a lot of the mission states like California, I think Washington, a couple of other high emission states that they had to produce a certain amount of EVs and send to those states. And so, people like us here in Kansas, we didn't really see a huge number of those EVs just because the damage that was done on production and parts availability and stuff like that limited the number of production, but then they were already committed to deliver a lot of those vehicles to the emission states. And so we didn't really see a huge number of them. We have got some of the product in, and just the amount of technology and stuff that's in it is it's pretty cool. I'm not going to lie. And I really do believe that there is a niche for some consumers on this EV thing. The the biggest hurdle on the EV, I think, for a lot of consumers, at least in our market area, is the range anxiety.
Yeah.
Everybody's wondering about, where am I going to get charged? How am I going to, it's not like there's a fuel station on every corner for them, at this point in time. But, you think about it and how much you really do drive a day or how many miles you drive a day, and the EV vehicle can support a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I think that it'll be something that, at some point in time, I think a lot of people are going to have two vehicles. They're going to have, just per household. One of them's wife's going to drive one, husband's going to drive the other, and just kind of make it work. But you think about not having to buy gas again. I mean, that would be huge for sure. So, but no, Bill, I think I really do think that Ford is all in on the EV side of things. So I'm not sure where you got that information, but it's everything we're seeing, it does not reflect that.
As many training.
It was sent to me through an email, and I was kind of like, yeah, okay. I mean, I can believe that, they're going to keep, producing the V8 as long as, or 5.0 as long as they can. But
well, and that's that's the other side of things, and I think that's one of Ford's biggest push for EV is because that's their number one seller is the F-150 pickup.
Mm-hmm.
And in order for them to keep selling those ICE F-150s, they got to get their emissions ratings down over the whole model lineup. And so for every Mach-E that they sell, they get to sell 4 F-150s.
There you go.
And so that's I know that's kind of the reason is why they're pushing that market so much. But also, those EV vehicles, there is a niche for them. There is a need for it for sure.
Yeah, there definitely is, especially also, Bill, with all of the training and stuff that they send to us as far as the new technology that's coming out or that's coming on these new EV vehicles. There's tons of it, and we're there's definitely a niche of people here in Kansas that can benefit from it. Even it's not just the the Californias and the East Coast and the West Coast and all that stuff. There are people that it could benefit, and so they're going to probably try to grab as much of that market as they can.
What about you? Is that something you think you would entertain the idea on if you were looking for a new vehicle, or what's your opinion?
I think I'm gonna stick with gas as long as I can. I mean, I'm kind of a pickup Mustang type of guy, so
understand that.
I mean, I'd rather have we've got 2 ponies in the stable. One's a 65 and one's a 14 Shelby. So just kind of
you can't there's no replacement for the sound of that V8, is there?
No.
And so
especially when you get to go on the cruises with the local Mustang club, it's kind of fun getting it out there and just letting it run.
So I was talking with somebody about that earlier this week. So it's really odd that you kind of brought that up, but just thinking of generation. So I have 2 boys, and thinking of things that like I grew up with that they will never have the chance to experience. So, I'm thinking of like a rotary telephone or something, or a phone booth, or, early story on was my youngest son or older son. He was, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 at the time. He was helping my neighbor clean up some stuff in his yard. And then afterwards they took it to the trash or the dump. And when they were doing that, he had it was an older Ranger that had manual windows.
Oh yeah.
And so he got in the truck with them and they were going down to the dump, and my neighbor says, man, I looked over there and he was just focused so much on this door, and I couldn't figure out what he was looking on. I was like, what are you looking at? And he says, what's that? Yeah. And it was a manual window crank.
Yeah.
And it's things like that. So then I think, years from now, or maybe their sons or daughters, you think they may never hear a V8 motor.
Yeah,
you know, like I don't. It's crazy to think that.
Yeah,
you
imagine
know?
Phil telling his kids about what it was like living with dinosaurs. I mean, that's pretty good.
I've taken some kids for riding the 65, and they're like, "Where's the AC?"
Yeah. Yep.
And I'm like, you know, AC was 260, so I mean, it was yeah. So it was but they get a kick out riding that old car and going out and looking at it and where's the power steering and power brakes, and so you don't have any of that stuff. You didn't need it for the car. So
yeah. And what I will say, Bill, there's just like there's a niche for that old Mustang that you have.
Yep.
There's a niche for this, this new Mach-E model Mustang. And I will tell you too that man, going and driving one of these Mach-Es, especially like the GTs, the amount of like instantaneous torque that you get off these electric motors, there's nothing like it. There's no I've been in some pretty high performance stuff, but the instantaneous torque that the electric motors have, they're just the feeling. And it doesn't matter whether you're taking off from a stop or you're doing 20 mile an hour or 40 mile an hour or 60 mile an hour. You hit the gas, that thing goes.
Yeah.
And it's now.
There's no delay.
And so it's like I said, it's definitely interesting and fun. But I agree with you 100%. There's nothing like the sound of a finely tuned V8 engine either, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Completely on that. So
do you guys have any of the Mach-Es in stock right now, or?
So we do have some Mach-Es up here. I don't know. I think there's maybe 2 or 3. I'm not 100% sure how many are up here, but that is something. And then I know we have quite a few Lightnings on the way. I think we have one used Lightning right at the moment. It's slightly used, but I do know that there are some new Mach-Es up here. So, and just sitting in them, just sitting in the vehicle, looking at the tech stuff like that. It's pretty cool.
Okay, I'll get out there sometime and look at them. I just really haven't. It's really, like I said, there's nothing like the sound of good sound of a V8, and then going to something that makes no noise at all. It's kind of like, okay, so
yeah, it's definitely different. It's definitely something that you have to get used to. Very much so. But Bill, it's a great topic of discussion for sure. And I'm sure both of those Mustangs that you have in your garage are pretty nice cars as well. So, hey, before you got on the phone with us, I was going to ask the listeners, and so I'll put you on the spot here a little bit. So today, Phil's not with us. His daughter's getting married. And so I was going to ask the listeners, or topic of discussion for the show today was going to be a car. What was the coolest car that you've ever seen, or for a special event? So drive away from a wedding, something you took to prom, any type of special event that you've had. And what's the coolest thing that you've ever got to experience or see somebody else do? And maybe you got a story, maybe you don't. I just kind of threw you on the spot there. So
my senior prom, I was kind of the cool kid of the group. I had the 65 I got was my high school car.
Oh, very cool.
There you go.
Yeah.
And it was restored, and then my dad and me took it and restored it back to concourse. So it's after 25, 30 year restoration, that was kind of cool. And my school buddies they think it's awesome. I still have my high school car.
Yeah, that's true.
That is awesome. very much so. So, and you still have it now?
I still have the car. It don't get driven very much. It's concourse, but it's been done. We've had the restoration done on now for 6 years, 7 years. So it was about 30 year restoration.
Yeah,
and I think I've got 3,100 miles on it in 7 years.
That's awesome. That's cool.
Yeah,
that's cool.
But and then like my 14, that Shelby, it's only got 39,000 on it.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
Yeah. So it does a lot of.
I don't even drive it.
It definitely does a
Yeah.
lot of sitting there.
Yeah.
So that's a do you
Unfortunately, but I use them both for show.
well, I was gonna say, do you go around to car shows and stuff?
Yeah, I'm president of South Central Kansas Mustang Club.
Oh, okay.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, very
That's
cool.
it. The Shelby went on a cruise here a couple weeks ago down to, or it was last weekend, down to the Hike Motorsports Museum in Ames, Oklahoma.
Okay.
That's cool.
Well, very cool.
Which, if you've never been to that museum, you need to go. It's they've got a lot of world championship cars down there, and probably out of the 60 cars he had on display, I want to say probably 80% of them were Fords.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Well, very, very cool.
He's got built. So anyway, but so I just wanted to check on that
Sure.
EV. That's just.
Well, I encourage you to. I encourage you to come out.
Ford has put a lot of money into development.
Yep, for sure. I encourage you to come out and take a look at the Mach-E's and take one for a spin and see what you think.
Okay. All right, sounds good.
Perfect. Well, thanks for
Bill.
the discussion, and have a great rest of your day, Bill.
You too. Take care.
Bye. Yeah, so that was we've got another caller coming through. I'll get them sent through, but that was so for all the listeners out there, if there's a special occasion that you can associate a vehicle with, I want the cool kid story.
Yeah.
Tell us your cool kid story on
Okay.
what you got to experience, or either you got to perform yourself. So whether it's prom or wedding or a getaway vehicle, or maybe you robbed a bank and had a really cool story to tell about the day you went to jail. So give us a call, 316-462-3673. Got another caller coming through, so we'll get them patched through and see what's on Jason's mind. So I don't know, that's a very good topic of discussion there with Bill and EV, and that is something that I really do think that eventually it's just going to grow. There's going to be more and more of a niche for it. As the charge anxiety kind of falls off, I do believe more and more people are going to be more open to that option.
Yeah,
for sure.
Technology is going to get better. You're going to
the range is going to go up from them.
Exactly.
The manufacturers are going to be able to produce better batteries for them as well.
Yep.
And so the typical consumer, they don't drive but 30 miles a day.
Yeah.
And so you can make a lot of 30 miles trips with a 300 plus range.
Yep.
For sure. And then just to be able to I don't know, I just think of not going to a gas station again.
Yeah, that'd be kind of crazy.
Would definitely be weird. So well, anyways, 316-462-3673. That's the number to jump on the air here with us and tell us about your specialty vehicle event.
Yeah.
So, if you had, or special event vehicle, I said that all wrong.
There
So let's go back to the phones. Let's talk to Jason. Jason, good morning. You're on live with Under the Hood.
Morning, guys. How are you? Happy Saturday.
Happy Saturday.
Thank you. Yeah.
So on your topic this morning, you're talking about, what's the coolest thing you did and, back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
So back in '89, my dad worked for Schofield Brothers, Pontiac.
Okay.
And on the last day of school, he said, I want you to take the bus to school and I will pick you up. I said, huh? He said, I don't want you to drive to school. He said, I will pick you up. I was like, okay. So after school, my dad shows up in a brand new top of the line Trans Am, 1989 Trans Am. And he got out and said, I'm going to let you drive it home. And all the kids couldn't believe it. They're like, oh, man, look at Jason. He's got a cool Trans Am. So it's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
That's good.
That.
So what was this your senior year, or what was?
It was my senior year in high school.
Okay.
That's cool.
That's awesome. So
yeah,
a part of me thinks, man, that's a great way to leave. But then the other part of me says, well, you didn't go back to school to hear all the stories the next day that everybody else was telling.
Right.
So, but yeah, that is a very cool experience for sure. And so, what'd you think of it?
Oh my God, he let me take it out, and he took me, like on straight away and stuff, and let me, feel the power of it and everything. It's pretty badass.
Yeah. And so to this day, you're like, man, I want a Trans Am.
No, I'm a Ford guy, so I'll take a Shelby any day.
Well, there you go.
That'll work.
Yeah, I understand that. So what color was it?
Black.
Black. Yeah.
It was slick.
Yeah. So did it have
was slick because.
Yeah, did it have the gold wheels?
Oh yeah. And of course back then, Knight Rider was on, and so kid being the Trans Am,
yeah,
so
they had
there you go.
They come and picked you up for a mission.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Well, that is a very, very cool story.
But anyways, I have another question.
Okay.
When do you guys foresee the interest rates on these cars going down? Because right now, the cheapest rate I could find is 5.8%.
And I tell you that, honestly, that's a stellar rate. It is absolutely crazy.
I know.
It is. It's something that they're trying to, in my opinion, there's a lot of opinions out there, but I believe they're trying to get the cost of some of this stuff down by slowing down, people buying it from that side.
Right.
And so it's absolutely crazy when you go to look at purchase something and so much of your money is going to the interest and not the principal. I mean, when you think of buying something and the interest part of it is a quarter of what the purchase price
Right.
is, it hurts. As a consumer, it's hard to justify that. And then my other opinion of that is you have people that, go ahead and do it out of necessity or don't have any other options. And where are they at in 3 years in that buying cycle? Now they've got to stay in that item longer, whatever it is, whether it's a home, whether it's a vehicle, because the value of it is not there. Because they were paying so much on the interest side of things. And so it's one of those things. There's got to be some relief coming soon, I would think. I would also say from the manufacturer standpoint, so specifically in the automotive industry, and I wish Phil was here to kind of give his opinion on this as well.
Yeah.
But I think from the manufacturing standpoint in the automotive industry is that it's been behind production for so long that the number of units out there is so few on the new side of things. But that is starting to catch back up, and we're actually starting to see some lot inventory. Things aren't moving near as fast, one, because of the interest rates, but then also two, just the demand on the newer product. They're able to produce them more as opposed to what they were years ago. So I think once that kind of catches back up on the automotive industry side of things, I think the manufacturers are going to have to start coming back out with rebates and incentives and, stuff like that. And I think that will kind of help offset that, those interest rates and stuff like that. Now that's on the new side. The used side of things, that's something that the market itself is going to have to reset on. So
are you guys feeling any of the effects of the strike? Is that affecting you guys at all?
So for right now, Ford, on the Ford side of things, the Bronco plant is affected. The Ranger plant is affected. And then the Explorer plant is affected as far as new vehicle production. None of our parts hubs or parts depots or anything like that have been affected at this point. Now for Chevrolet and Stellantis, that's a different story. They are not only the manufacturing plants, but they're also striking on the hubs, and so like getting parts to consumers or to dealers from their warehouses is becoming a struggle.
Yeah.
Ford, I think, has done, I would say, definitely a better job, of keeping those items open. We're taking it day by day because that is something that could change. But I do believe that so far, unless it's a Bronco or an Explorer or a Ranger, we really haven't seen too much of an effect on this. And so I hope it's something that they can get resolved here pretty soon, just for the simple fact that at the end of the day, my opinion is, I mean, I understand both sides of this coin and what is needed to there needs to be an agreement made. But also at the end of the day, the only person that's truly really getting affected by this is the end consumer.
That's it. Yeah.
And that's the person that makes your paycheck, whether you're an assembly worker, whether you're Ford Motor Company, whether you're a dealer, whether you're an employee, anywhere in the line of distribution or the chain. And I think that's where honestly, I think that's what people forget is that, instead of what's in it for me, what am I doing to help the end user out? And I do get it. People do have to worry about themselves and
Sure.
what they make, because the person that's looking out for number one is number one.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
also at the end of the
Yeah,
day,
right.
what are you doing it for? And so that's I guess kind of the stance on the strike. But yeah, at this point I feel like we're moving along fairly well with it. So
That's good news. Guys, I appreciate you taking my call. Guys, have a good weekend.
Hey,
Thank
you
you.
too, bud.
Jason, thank you very much, and great topics of discussion. Thanks for the call.
You bet, man.
Bye. So we've got another caller here. We'll get them patched through. But yeah, 316-462-3673. That's the number to jump on the air here and talk with us. And hey, let's talk about a special event that you can associate with a vehicle. So you do you?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. I got
Well,
mine.
we'll get to
we can wait for it.
Yeah, we'll get Daryl patched through here and visit with him and see what he has to say. So let's go to the phones. Let's talk to Daryl. Daryl, you're on live with Under the Hood. Go ahead.
Yes, I like that question. I received a flyer from Ford, this Mel Hambelton Ford this week about brake service.
Mhm.
My question is, several years ago, I got a brake job from another place, and the front tires had completely dust all over them, and I cleaned it off. In a week or so, they're back again. Now, these pads that you have, they don't, I don't know if these pads were defective or what, but it was a mess for a long time. Your pads aren't like this, are they?
Yeah, so there's a lot of different manufacturers of pads, brake pads out there, and then there's different material that pad is made out of.
Yep.
And essentially, that when you go back with an OEM quality pad, you're going to get what you had from the factory.
Right.
When you go aftermarket, it just depends on the pad and what its construction is made of. You see a lot of dust when there's a lot less ceramic in the pad. You do see a lot more wheel dust and stuff like that. On the motorcraft pads, it's been our experience, there's a break-in period when you put that pad on, and for the first 500,000 miles that there may be abnormal amount of dust. I wouldn't say anything high, but just something that you would maybe take notice of for the first break-in period, and then after that you typically wouldn't even notice it.
Right. And the majority, at least everything that I know that Motorcraft makes is going to be semi-metallic, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
And they make them that way because those have specific ratings through Ford for stopping power, safety, and all those things. And then whenever you get into the alternative pads that are made out of different materials, not only is there an excessive amount of brake dust from one compound or brake noise from one compound to another, you also did get different colors of brake dust. So there is actually brake dust that's white, that's harder to see, and then there's also a darker brake dust that's easier to see. So it most likely has got to be a difference in materials that are making that has an excessive amount of brake dust that you may be seeing. So I don't know if that's the case. But brake dust doesn't seem to come around as a concern for majority of my customers, especially if they're going back to a factory pad. So that's something that I would like to look at and check out.
So, and then you brought up a great point, Scotty, on the fact that when you go back with a OEM pad, like it has to meet certain specifications before it can go on that vehicle.
Correct.
And it's got to fit one make of vehicle. It's got one job to do. When you go out and grab an aftermarket pad, they may alter that pad a little bit one way or the other to make one pad fit 3 or 4 different vehicles.
Exactly,
so they have to carry less SKU numbers. And so, it's just not designed specifically for that vehicle, and then it doesn't have to meet the specifications of stopping distance or any of that stuff. And so yeah, I can't stress enough, especially when it comes to brakes and how important they are, that OEM equipment is really the way to go on that.
Oh
so
yeah.
Okay, well, that's what I was going to say, because this brake dust was black. It was a mess for a long time.
yeah.
But anyway, my question is, I need a set of brakes. I just wanted to make sure that I didn't have to go through this again.
Sure.
All this brake dust. Okay, that's what I wanted to
And then
find out.
the other side of that too is when we do a brake job, it's a lifetime pad. At that point. So when you purchase it once, it is a lifetime warranty on that brake pad. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah, make sure you're aware of that. So Daryl, do you have any stories of any special events that you can associate with a really cool car?
Put him on the spot.
Yeah, I did. I put you on the spot. If you don't, it's not the end of the world, but
not really.
Okay,
that's all
gotcha.
right.
That's okay. That's
you mean like something, an accident, or
well?
No,
so
no,
I
no.
mean,
what
like
really happened?
yeah.
What kind of car did you go to prom in?
Yeah, so like prom or wedding or the drive-away car, so to speak.
Oh, well, I had a 1948 Ford convertible.
Nice. I like it.
The color was what they called, it was Ditzler Fizz Red. It's a beautiful car.
That's
I love that car.
So let's see, 48. What do you know? What Ford was it? A 1948 Ford convertible. So I was trying to think.
That I don't know. No.
Well, very cool. It was red, you said, and what color was the top?
Yeah, white, kind of whitish.
Yeah,
had a white rag top.
Very cool. Yeah, that would be very cool. Very good. Very good. Well, Daryl, thank you very much for your call and the question on the brakes, and we'll get that package sent out to you. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Perfect. Have a great rest of your day.
You too.
Hey, let's keep the phones ringing. 316-462-3673. That's the number to jump on the air here with us and tell us about your special event, cool car story that you know or you seen somebody else have or do that you thought, wow, that guy is cool.
1948. That would have had to been like a super deluxe or something like that.
Yeah. So I was the question I was going to say on that is and a 48 wouldn't have had it, but the fins. So, in the 50, we started stacking fins, and then it was just all the manufacturers' competition and who could get the biggest fin on the back of the car.
Heck yeah, make him look more like a rocket.
Well, Scotty, you gotta. So what brought this up is I was talking with Phil earlier in the week, and I was like, about this wedding and coming up, and I was like, well, there's got to be a getaway car, there's got to be a cool getaway car.
100%.
And so he was they took the GT.
I'm sure they did. Yeah.
So the blue, it's a Shelby GT replica, so it's a kit car, blue with white stripes. It sat out here on the showroom for a while, and they were practicing driving it this week or a couple of days this week, just to make sure that in front of a crowd of people and stuff like that. I could understand that completely.
So scary,
you don't want to just. But that thing, so it's got a 427 big block in it, and it's got the side pipes and all that stuff, and it just sits there and it sounds so cool. It's a car you want to drive like maybe 10 miles, not 100.
No,
but it is really cool, and I thought, man, that'd be a great getaway car. So that's the plan there, and then I think back of just special events and proms and weddings and stuff like that of what I've seen over the years, and that seems to always be a place to have a kind of an iconic car. And I've seen horse and buggies. I've seen at weddings. And
knowing
stuff
you,
like
you
that.
probably
went to
come
prom
on now. Horse and buggy.
Yeah, come on now. Yep. So, but anyways, you got a cool.
Yeah, dude, it was here.
Oh, really?
It was here. Yeah, it was the GT.
Oh, yeah.
That was probably one of the coolest experiences I've had with a car. I mean,
Yeah.
there was only a certain amount that they made. The customers who actually end up buying that car have become great customers of mine and friends and stuff like that. But yeah, that the GT was amazing.
And you're talking about the actual
Ford GT.
Ford GT.
Yes, the
yeah.
GT40. And then we had, 3 other GTs just sitting on the showroom
Here with
floor.
it. Yep.
Yeah. And I mean, it was that Phillips 66 blue, the race, Ford GT, and it was such a huge event at the time. I didn't really even know how big of an event was it for our dealership, because we got to deliver, one of these cars, and there was all kinds of rules and regulations of what you had to do when you had this car. You couldn't sell it within a certain amount of time, and they didn't want you to sit it in a garage and wipe it with a diaper. They wanted you to get out and drive the thing.
Yeah.
So, funny story, the gentleman who had and bought that car that we delivered to, he ended up actually selling it whenever his time was up, selling it, and he loved that car so much that he bought it back. So
had to have it back.
Had to have it back.
I think back of vehicles that I've had over the past and stuff like that. As the older I get, there seems to be a grace period. It's like, man, it'd be really cool to have one of those again. But I think also the memories that you have of it versus what it would actually be like if you own that vehicle are probably two different things. So I know quite a few people that have their high school cars still and stuff like that. And I do think that's cool to be able to hang on to something like that and either restore it or keep it in as good as
mine just weren't that cool.
You didn't have any?
No, I mean, I had like a 1998 Ford Ranger stick shift, which I loved that truck. It was like a step side and stuff, but it wasn't like I didn't get the sports car. I got my parents are going to get me something that I can't get too fast of a speeding ticket in and do a lot of damage with.
You don't want to, you don't want your parents to buy your first car because it's the cheapest thing they could insure.
That's right.
There seems to be a commonality between insurance rate and coolness.
Yeah,
as one goes up, the other one goes down, and as one goes down, the other one goes up.
That's right. That's right.
Hey, 316-462-3673. That's the number to jump on the air here with us. Let's talk about special events, cars from that side of things. But then the other side of this, anything automotive, the other thing that I wanted to talk about is, today's temperature is definitely different than it has been.
Yeah,
it was about 34 degrees when I 33 degrees when I left the house this morning and was coming in. And so what are some things that we need to look at and think of as the customers are taking the temperature dial and moving it from the right to the left on the heat?
There's a lot of things, man.
Yeah.
And I'll leave my favorite for last because it's probably one of the easiest things. But obviously, you've got your antifreeze / coolant. That's the same thing. And a lot of people you need to make sure, obviously, you have good coolant antifreeze going into each season. But it's very, very important to keep that system where it's supposed to be, especially in Kansas, whenever we have fluctuating temperatures that go all the way over 100 and all the way below freezing. That's probably one of the main things in Kansas that you want to keep your eyes peeled for and keep that system in good shape. But the big thing I would say that's probably, we see it every single year, we can't tell enough people about it enough, but you diesel people have this kind of fuel that you use that gets gelled up when it starts getting cold, and it's very, very easy to keep that from happening. And when it does happen, it is a headache because you're on a tow truck. The truck doesn't move. It gets towed in. It takes a day to fix. It's a big deal. And all it really takes is just something simple to keep that from happening.
Yeah.
So that's probably the one that I see the most, or at least I notice the most, because it is such an ordeal when it happens.
Well, and it's something that it just leaves you.
You're stuck.
Done. Yeah.
You're stuck.
And to think that it could be prevented over a $10 bottle.
That's it.
Definitely. The other side I think of when I think of that is on those vehicles that are that do the effect that it has probably long term on the high pressure fuel system.
Yeah.
Low pressure and high pressure fuel system, and the fuel systems on these trucks, I mean, they have them so calculated, the amount of pressure, what it doesn't matter whether it's gas or diesel.
No.
You know, they're running very, very high pressure. They're spraying a very, very fine mist just to get the absolute best fuel economy and stuff like that. And, you know, any little bit of debris or aeration or cavitation in the fuel, like, is going to present problems in those equipments. And so, yeah, you know, as we talk about the cooler weather, some of the things that come to my mind, I think of tires. You know,
Okay.
always this time of year, I think of tires,
Mhm.
just because knowing the inclement weather that is potentially coming down the road, and you know, if you're riding on something that has 3 or 4 30 seconds of
Yeah.
tread, like that's pretty serious.
Oh, yeah.
Or could definitely be pretty serious, and just to give you the best chance of traction and, you know, stability and stuff like that. But the other thing when I think of tires is also air pressures.
Mhm.
You know, when the temperatures are this cool, or take today for example, you know, you started out at 34 degrees, we're going to end up around 65,
Yep.
maybe 70. Uh, that pressure fluctuates a lot in those and in your tires in that amount of time. And so, you know, just overall condition of tires, how they're wearing, you know, and then air pressures as well. And that's going to have a effect on fuel economy on the vehicle.
Mhm.
So definitely tires, when you get to this time of year, I always think of those. And then,
Yep.
you know, the other thing I think of too is it gets darker, stays darker later, turns
Mhm.
darker sooner in the day. And, you know, nobody wants to be stranded on the side of the road with a blown out tire at night,
That's right.
you know,
Yeah.
or in the dark. That's not any fun.
That's not any fun.
By any means. So,
I do have one other one.
okay.
That's probably, and we test it every single time you come into the shop, and that is the overall battery health of the
Mhm.
vehicle. That's something very, very simple. And I'm normally pretty decent about it as well. Whenever we come in, we check the batteries, check the lifespan. But the other thing I look at is how old is that battery? You
Yeah.
know, it may test good at the time that we're doing this, but it's also whenever it's, 70, what do you say, sunny and 70?
Sunny and 70.
Whenever that first huge spike in temperature happens, that's a killer of batteries, that severe change in temperature. So if you have a battery, because normally batteries anymore last about 3 years in the Midwest, that's just on average. But whenever you have a battery that's 3 years old and you get that really sharp cold spell, it can take that battery out and then put you in a really uncomfortable situation when you're trying to jumpstart a vehicle when it's freezing cold outside. It's just not fun. And anymore, when we test these batteries, it's not the regular batteries of like the 2017s and older vehicles. Now we're putting these absorbed glass matte batteries in the vehicle, and so we're testing every single time. And these absorbed glass matte batteries are more expensive. But any way that we can avoid you from being late to work, or being on the side of the road, or being, in your driveway freezing your butt off trying to jumpstart your car, that's why we do these tests. So if you've heard me say, hey, your battery tests good right now, but we got winter and it's 3 years old, that's what I'm trying to initiate is, don't be in that situation to where you're going to be having to jumpstart this thing.
Yeah. Well, yeah, like you said, being out in the cold.
It stinks, man. It's not
very much
fun.
So I gotta apologize here. We went through a large portion of this show here,
And didn't even
I
look at
wasn't
the
even
chat.
I didn't even have the chat tab up. So I completely apologize. My bad. Tell you what, fire me. So I'll go through there.
I'll take your spot.
Yeah. Got a morning, guys, from Jason Cox. We'll get caught up here real quick. So Jason actually called in. We talked about the interest rates and going down. Delbert says, good morning, guys. Good morning, Delbert. Sorry I missed you earlier. Rex says, morning, fellas. And then he says, my truck battery is on strike this morning. Should have tested it yesterday before the freeze. There you go.
What did I just say?
See? Yeah. I think so Rex, yeah, definitely that, this time of the year you gotta do that as well. And so
Yeah.
what are some of the other things you have on the temperature side of things?
Oh, that's it. Well, I mean, I agree with you on tires, cooling systems. We got batteries in there. We've got the DEF system.
I mean, everybody, we can talk
heater.
about cooling systems a little bit. Everybody thinks that excuse me, that freeze point is
Yeah.
what we're worried about on cooling system. It's not. It's the corrosion or the acidity level of that coolant, or pH level, is really what we're monitoring. But it is a good time, because it's on everybody's mind. It's a good time to look at coolant and to see what the condition of that is. But there's hardly ever a coolant out there now that doesn't have a very, very long life on the freeze point side of it. But still, the acidity is that's what costs the money. That's what breaks components. So it is very important to look at that coolant and see where we're at, and what it needs as well. The other thing that I think of too, and for me personally, I think of, like, in my house, when I change from
The
heat
cabin
to
air
air.
filters.
Is a cabin air filter. I always think, hey, when we're starting to make that change, let's think of that cabin air filter too.
I had a vehicle the other day that, I kid you not, their main concern was that whenever they turn the air conditioning or heater on, it doesn't blow anything out. And generally, my mind immediately goes to, okay, it probably has like a blower motor issue or something like that. And the vehicle had never been here before. And so naturally, the first thing we check, we turn it on, we can still hear it. We pull out of a cabin air filter that was so clogged, it had no airflow going through that thing. So we knew immediately that is a simple fix. That is just something that could have been done and eliminate that whole trip.
So a couple of things to that. One, we probably should have took a picture of it so we could have
True.
showed the viewers on the show. I need to do a much better job of that. I've kind of started in on that and got some really good.
Well, you're a busy guy.
Got some really good examples of stuff, but for the consumers, because I just don't think that they understand the day-to-day stuff that we get into, and how maybe extreme sometimes we see things.
There's not a dull day at the dealership.
There's not. And just when you think you could not be mythified, I guess.
Yeah, you think you've seen it all, and then the next day it's
and then you haven't. And it's when I get into situations like that where I always have a comparison. I mean, every time I walk through the shop and I'm looking at jobs and what's going on and who's doing what, and then why they're doing it, I put this business in two different categories: maintenance and repair.
Yeah.
And I really do believe, a good multi-point inspection and a good preventative maintenance side of things has a huge weigh in on the repair side of things. I go back and I look at so many different repairs that we do that are, are cost insane amounts of money, and then just the fact that the vehicle may have completely left you stranded somewhere, and then you have a tow bill involved, and then it's broke when it decides to be broke, and not when you have time or even the money to maybe make those repairs. Like when it doesn't start, you don't have an option but to fix it.
Yeah.
But when you think of the preventative maintenance side of things, like that's flexible. It's not something you don't have to do an oil change today.
Yeah.
But if you keep on putting it off, now you're in a repair situation and the vehicle's going to break, and you've got to do it when it wants to do it. And so I think a maintenance is more of people don't want to spend the money, but they have the option, and it's a lot less cheaper to maintain something than it is to repair it.
Yeah.
And so I associate so many repairs to, man, if we just would have done a little bit better preventative maintenance, we wouldn't be having this conversation at all.
Yeah. My dad always says, be proactive, not reactive. And he's always told me, it's like 70% of the things that you're reacting to could probably have been prevented if you were proactive on trying to eliminate that from being an option. And I don't know, that's just a number that he throws out there to try to,
to make it sound good.
but it's 100% true. You have so many things that you can eliminate being a severe issue on a lot of these vehicles just by maintaining them and doing what even sometimes the owner's manual doesn't tell you to do in certain situations. For the longest time, we knew that spark plugs needed to be replaced on the 3.5 EcoBoost at 60,000 when the owner's manual said 100,000. We knew that going into it, and that's why if you actually listen to us whenever we're saying, hey, this is a good idea right now, or even just thinking about it and looking into those services, you could potentially save yourself a lot of headache. And overall, that's what we're really trying to do. I mean, we love you guys coming in and seeing us, but we don't like you coming in and being in an upset situation.
Well, or the other thing is, just as much as from a consumer, consumer to customer relation,
Yeah.
like, I'm here to tell you what your car needs.
Exactly,
It's not
yeah.
my fault that it needs that.
Yeah.
But I'm here to help you. I'm here to give you all the information,
Yeah.
good, bad, or any different, and then we can work through whatever that is and customize it to best suit your needs.
Yeah, exactly.
And I can help you prioritize things and ways to go about it to whatever desire you want. At the end of the day, as long as the vehicle's safe, I don't care how you maintain your car or what you want to do with it, but I want you to be knowand about it.
There you go. Yeah.
And I want you to have education on the decisions that you're making,
right,
and why. And there's been very, very, very few times that we've really had to completely capture a customer's attention and say, hey, not only is this unsafe for you, but it's unsafe for all the other motorists that are out there with you. And in those situations, like, somebody needs to know.
Yeah.
As opposed to just marking it on a sheet or document it on a repair order and letting the customer go on down the road, and not making sure that they truly understand the risk factor that they're taking.
Right.
And that's where, again, at the end of the day, I'm here to tell you everything your car needs, what it needs, while it needs it, and then we can help make those decisions together. But I'm just a resource for you to make an educated decision.
Absolutely. Yeah. Give you as much information as you could possibly want. Sometimes too much is what Josh does.
So, well, guys, it's been an absolutely great show. Definitely appreciate all the callers calling in and talking about their special events or their special. Okay, yeah, okay. Well, so I mean, I've got a different couple of them.
Yeah.
One was a wedding that I went to, and a gentleman their getaway was this Corvette was sweet. It was nice, and just got in it and did a massive burnout. And I'm the whole time and did it like a pro too.
Nice.
It was nice. And the whole time I'm sitting there thinking, man, I would want to do that same thing, but my luck, I'd wrap it into a pole or something just right there. I mean, there was probably 120 people watching this go down and thinking, and he looked so professional doing it. And you got to give the guy props. It was his wedding day, and everything was going his way.
That's good.
And in my particular situation, I just can imagine wrapping that car, sliding it into a curb, or running around a tree or something like that. And so it was very cool. It looked very professional. I just know I wouldn't have had that luck. So that was one thing.
If you've never seen Josh snowplow our parking lot, it is an adventure.
So now that you put me in a piece of machinery or something, and I've got it.
Yeah,
I've got confidence. You want me to back a trailer? I'll do it. You tell me where you want it, and I'll have it right there. So, but anyways, hey, we got another caller come in, so let's go to the phone. Let's talk to Jim. Jim, you're on live with Under the Hood.
Hey, boy, I've been trying to think of what the coolest thing I've done in a car was. And there's just been so many. My first thought was going to a movie with a date in the rumble seat of an old Model A.
Yeah,
very cool.
I don't believe all those stories you hear about the rumble seats because they're tight.
Where there's a will, there's a way, Jim. But yeah,
been involved in so many crazy things. But one thing does pop out. My dad and I took our 52 Hudson Hornet to Charlotte for a NASCAR race. We had they wanted us in the pre-race parade. It's the car's tribute car to the 1952 NASCAR champion Tim Flock, and it's all painted and lettered and decaled just like his. And they had us lined up in turn 4 for the pre-race parade, and then they decided that there was several of us that were staged too far, and you only go one direction on racetrack. So instead of backing us up, we had to go down pit road and all the way around. Well, they were setting up the pits for the race later on that day, And Dad was driving at that time. He pulled it right into John Andretti's pit. Says, "All right, boys, 4 tires and 2 full tank of gas." They laughed, and we had a great time.
That's awesome.
That is very cool. So yeah, that is an awesome story.
Not too many people get that kind of an experience.
No, no, not at all. That is very, very cool. That's an awesome story. So yeah, there's just so many things that, when you think back over the years, that you could relate to a vehicle or having a car present for, or stuff like that. So, but that's an awesome story. And no, I think you're probably the only person that got to experience that. You and everybody else in that car, and I bet the pit crew probably still remembers it too. So,
well, as we were pulling out of his pits, there was a group of fans walking down pit road, and one gal with about 5 or 6 guys, and she says, "Oh, I want to ride in that." And my dad says, "Well, ditch the guys and get in." She did.
And she hopped right in there. That is.
She did. It was cool.
That's awesome.
She loved it.
Yeah. Well, very, very cool. Thank you very much for the story, Jim, and thanks for the call. Appreciate it.
All right. Bye.
Have a good day,
buddy.
Bye. Yeah, that's an awesome story. Absolute awesome story. So, well, hey guys, we're gonna wind down here, and let's thank the sponsors of the show. So we've got Big Corner Creative for all your marketing and advertising needs. Those guys do a phenomenal job over there. But any type of vehicle wraps, race car wraps, window tinting, any type of traditional social media that you want to market on, web page designs, Big Corner Creative, as they say, just Google us. Then we've got Go To Rent. So right here inside of Mel Hambelton Ford, I've got Go To Rent over there. He's got a great fleet of vehicles, a lot of 12 and 15 passenger vans. But if you're looking for something bigger, can't believe I've said this. We're already into October. Thanksgiving and
Ski
Christmas
trips coming up, baby.
Absolutely right around the corner. So if you need a bigger vehicle to go on vacation with, let's get a hold of Stan right here inside of Mel Hambelton Ford at Go To Rent. And then BG Products, all the great preventative maintenance that we have to offer right here inside Mel Hambelton Ford. Everybody have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you next Saturday.